Good evening, all of you. Today I'm going to complete this. Due to some technical issues, I cannot able to give the complete information. And today I'm going to give you the complete information regarding the valuation of shares. Okay. Yeah. In the previous video class, I had told you about this need for valuation of shares. And today I'm going to give you the factors affecting this valuation of shares. What are the factors that we'll come across? First one is capital employed. Capital employed is nothing but the capital interest, capital amount that we are investing. That is the companies what they are investing. That is capital employed. And in capital employed, you will come across two types of capital employed. That is opening capital employed and closing capital employed. Opening capital employed is nothing but the beginning capital what the companies wants to invest. And closing capital is nothing but after completion of one financial year, whatever it may be the capital that is there, it is nothing but closing capital employed. So we have to take into account the capital employed first. When you are having this opening opening balance of capital employed and closing balance of capital employed, it is compulsory that we have to take the average capital employed. Sir, why we have to take the average capital employed? Because we are having two types of capital employed, opening or beginning capital employed as well as closing capital employed. When you want to find out the future maintainable profit or expected profit, it is compulsory that we have not future maintainable profits, the normal profit. Okay, we have to compulsory take into account the average capital employed. How will get this capital employed? Opening balance of capital employed plus closing balance of capital employed divided by 2 is nothing but average capital employed. Sometimes opening capital employed will not be given. They won't give in the problem. Then in that case, we have to take into account the closing capital employed, and from that we have to deduct half of current year profits. So when we deduct half of current year profits, automatically we are going to get the average capital employed. Then after that, the second factor is normal profit. What the company is getting normally every year, how much they are getting, we have to take that as normal profit. Okay, sometimes we may get more amounts and sometimes we will get less amounts. But the thing is, as the time passes on, we have to take into account the normal profit that what we are going to earn. So that normal profit is compulsory that we have to take into account. Then after that, normal rate of return. What is this normal rate of return? The normal rate of return is expressing the normal profit in percentage basis. It is nothing but normal rate of return. Here, when we are going for a valuation of shares, it is compulsory that we have to take into account the normal capital, normal profit, and normal rate of return. Then expected profit. What we are going to expect, how much profit we are going to expect. That thing also we have to take into account. Hereby, we can be in a position to know the value of a share. So these are the factors that we will come across when we go for factors of valuation of shares. Then after that, we have to take into account the methods of valuation of shares. After, when you go for the methods, or not after, when you go for the methods of valuation of shares, you'll come across three types of valuation, three methods. First one is net assets method. Second one is yield method. And third one is fair value method. What is this net assets method? Here we have to take into account the net assets value. And this method, it is also known as Okay, assets backing method or breakup value method or intrinsic value method. Whatever it may be the name, the formula is one and the same and the method is one and the same. The names only they will change, but the procedure it is one and the same. Now, when we go for the net assets method or intrinsic value method, okay, here we have to take into account the total assets value. All the assets at their realizable values we have to take into account. And whenever we come across goodwill, we should not take into account the purchase goodwill. We have to value the goodwill basing upon the super profits method, and we have to consider that goodwill. So all the assets we have to take into account. And when you are taking these assets, you should not take into account the fictitious assets like profit and loss account, debit balance, preliminary expenses, patents, trademarks. All these things we should not consider. We have to take into account the realizable values of the assets, whatever it may be. So we have to total all the realizable assets, okay, and we'll come across total assets. And from the total assets, you have to deduct the outside liabilities like sundry creditors, bills payable, debentures, loans taken, all these things you have to deduct. And from the net amount, we have to deduct the capital, preferential capital, along with dividends, because preferential shareholders they'll come and they'll go as and when they want to go. Like how we come across relatives and how they will go. In the same manner, we'll come across preferential capital and whatever it may be, the areas like dividends, all those things they must be deducted. Then only we'll come across amount available to equity shares. In this context, I want to tell you about the difference between preferential shareholders and equity shares. Preferential shareholders they'll come and they'll go as and when they want, but equity shareholders they'll stay up to the closure of the time. That is from starting from the beginning and up to the ending, the equity shareholders they'll stay. So we can say that the equity shareholders are the real owners of the company. So amount available to equity shareholders, we have to take into account, we must get that. And after getting the amount available to equity shareholders, we have to take into account the number of equity shares. And when we divide the amount available to equity shareholders with the number of equity shares, then we'll come to know about this value of the share. And in this context, you must understand that you'll come across two things. That is, okay, fully paid share value and partly paid share value. So when we come across partly paid share value, we have to transfer the partly paid share value into fully paid value. That is, by adding the difference, we'll call that thing as notional call. And this notional call we have to add to the total assets. Thereby, whatever it may be the partly paid shares that we are having, they'll be converted. We are converting the shares into fully paid shares. Then after that only, you can be in a position to calculate the value of share by deducting the outside liabilities as well as preferential capital and dividends. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate the value of share. And sir, suppose if we want to know the value of fully paid shares and if we want to know the partly paid shares, first of all, you have to know the fully paid share value. Okay, then whatever it may be, the difference that you will come across between the fully paid shares and partly paid shares, we have to deduct. Thereby, you'll come to know about the value of share of partly paid shares. So this is how you will come to know about this, the value of share under net assets method. And after that, we are having this yield method or earnings capacity method or market value method. Under this, again, you will come across two things. Okay, value depending based on the dividends and value depending upon the earnings. So when you take into account what are the dividends that we come across, we will have to take into account. And what is the dividend per share? what is the rate of dividend, expected rate of dividend that we are going to first of all calculate. So how we'll calculate? So expected rate of dividend by number of equity shareholders into paid up share value. You'll come across the expected rate of dividend. After getting the expected rate of dividend, you have to take into account the normal rate of dividend, normal rate of return. So expected rate of dividend by normal rate of dividend into paid up share value, you'll come across the valuation of shares. And in the previous case, one thing, when you want to go for the expected rate of dividends, you have to multiply with 100, because whatever it may be, you have to express that in percentages. Okay, normal rate of return, it should be expressed in percentages. Expected rate of dividends also, you must be in a position to convert that into percentage. So value of share is equal to expected rate of dividend by normal rate of return into paid up share value. This is one method to calculate the valuation of shares. Then next thing is, okay, based upon the earnings, first of all, we have to take into account the expected profit. Expected profit means you should not include the provisions. You should not include the provision for taxation, provision for bad and doubtful debts. All these things, after deducting all these things, what is the expected profit, expected rate earnings that we come across? That we have to take into account, divided by paid up share value, that is equity paid up share value, into 100. That is, we are converting the expected profit into percentage, expected rate of return or expected rate of earnings. So this expected rate of earnings, to be expressed in percentage, we have to find out. Then valuation of share is equal to expected rate of earnings divided by normal rate of return into paid up share value. This is compulsory. This is compulsory. And when you go for this yield method, you will come across capitalization method also in this. Okay. So in that case, what is the capitalized profit that we are going to get? That capitalized profit by paid up share capital, equity share capital, paid up equity share capital into 100. Thereby, you are going to get the capitalized profits in percentage. So valuation of share is equal to the capitalized profits, capitalized rate of profits by normal rate of return into paid up share capital. Paid up share capital, whether it is fully paid or partly paid, whatever it may be, you must divide, you must multiply with paid up share value. Okay, generally speaking, people, what they will do is they'll take into account the fully paid shares. Okay, they'll take into account the fully paid shares. For example, if you take into account a share value at 10 rupees, but the company people, they received 8 rupees only. So 2 rupees is the balance that we are going to get. This 2 rupees on share, we'll call that thing as notional column. So this thing, when you want to convert when you want to find out the value of partly paid shares, this 2 rupees, whatever we come across, we have to calculate and we have to deduct from the paid up share, fully paid up share value of 10 rupees. Okay, from that, if you deduct, automatically you are going to get the share value for partly paid shares. This is about the yield method. And coming to the third method, that is fair value method. This fair value method, it is also known as dual method. What is this fair value method? It is nothing but the average of intrinsic value method and yield value method. That is net assets method plus, okay, yield value method divided by 2. Whatever it may be the share value that we come across by net assets, and whatever it may be the share value that we are going to get by the yield method, we have to club them. We have to add them and we have to divide with 2. Thereby, we are going to get the fair value method. This is how we have to value the shares. This is how we have to value the shares. And people, they should not get disturbed. Okay, these things you must be very careful in understanding the valuation of shares. Okay, net assets method is different, and the yield method is different. And when we club these two things and when we take the average, automatically the thing will give you the fair value method. So with this, I'm going to close this valuation of shares. And one thing I'm going to tell you is, by the request of some of the people, some of the students, I want to start the statistics class, business statistics 2 class. In business statistics class, we'll come across 5 chapters, Sama, and these 5 chapters are very tough, very tough. It is not that much as that of business statistics 1. And in the next class, I'm going to start the business statistics 2. And in that business statistics 2, we'll come across 5 important chapters, 5 important chapters. Mind it, I'm telling you 5 important chapters. Okay. First one is regression analysis. Regression analysis. Second one is analysis of time series. And third one is index numbers. And fourth one is probability. And the fifth one is theoretical distributions. In theoretical distributions, we'll come across 3 divisions. Okay, binomial distributions, Poisson distributions, and normal distributions. These are the 3 things that we'll come across. And people having this, the mathematical background, okay, whatever it may be, the mathematical background that you come across, you have to take into account that mathematical background. So mathematical background means, what is that, sir? So you must know the the items like beta, gamma, alpha, mu, all these things you must know, because all these things are nothing but the Greek words or Greek letters that we come across. So with that only, the normal distributions as well as the binomial distributions or the Poisson distributions will be done. So one thing I am going to tell you to all the people is, you must have some mathematical background. That is, you must know what are these things: alpha, beta, gamma, mu, all these things you must know. Okay, these are nothing but the symbols. These are nothing but the Greek words or Greek symbols that we will come across when we are going for mathematical, okay, mathematical calculations. And when you go for regression analysis is very, very important when you go for that. And after that, you'll come across the index numbers. And after that, you'll come across the probability. Probability means, okay, probability, some people, they'll use that in normal terminology or in layman's terminology. And that probability depends upon the beliefs and confidence of the people. But the beliefs and confidence we should not take into account. We have to take into account the probability, that is the numerical expression of the favorable cases as well as unfavorable cases when we are conducting some total number of cases. This is about the probability. Okay, in this probability, you'll come across again the addition theorem, multiplication theorem, and Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem is very, very important from examination point of view. Okay, so these things I'm going to start in the next video class, and I suppose that all the people, they will get this and they can able to understand this. And in a very detailed manner, I'm going to tell you in a very detailed manner about this. Okay, business statistics. What is regression lines? What is regression equations? All these things. And one thing you have to keep in mind is, this regression analysis you'll come across after correlation analysis. Mind it, this regression analysis you'll come across after correlation analysis. Because in correlation topic, we'll take into account the relationship between 2 variables. But in regression analysis, we'll take into account the average relationship. Mind it. Okay. So with this, I'm closing this, and in the next video class, I'm going to start the